All right, let's fire up the old DOS machine and take a look back at a seriously beloved and maybe kind of forgotten retro holiday classic.
So let me ask you something. Do you like Sonic the Hedgehog? You know, the speed, the platforming, that whole 90s attitude?
Okay, next question. How about Christmas? The music, the festive vibes, all that good stuff.
Now, what if you just smashed those two things together? Imagine that, a super fast, holiday-themed platformer. Basically a Christmas Sonic.
Sounds pretty awesome, right? Yeah. Too bad it doesn't exist.
Or does it? See, there was a Sonic-inspired game on PC that got its very own Christmas special. And we are absolutely talking about Jazz Jackrabbit Holiday Hair 95.
So who was behind this? A company called Epic Mega Games. Now, they were a huge deal in the 90s shareware scene, where you could try games out for free. And if that name rings a bell, yeah, it should. Today, they're just called Epic Games, the little company behind, the Unreal Engine and Gears of War. Now, to get technical, there were actually two of these holiday games. The first one dropped in '94, but today we're really digging into the 1995 version. That's the one that just nailed the whole festive formula. So how does this thing actually play? Well, think high-speed platformer, but with a couple of really key twists that kind of make it its own thing. You can totally see the Sonic inspiration. But Jazz is different. Sonic's all about that spin attack, right? Well, Jazz has a gun. Instead of rings, he grabs carrots for points. And here's the big one. Jazz has a life bar. He doesn't just lose all his stuff when he gets hit. So yeah, inspired by Sonic, for sure, but it was definitely its own rabbit. And you gotta understand, it is impossible to talk about this game without mentioning how much fans love it. I mean, you'll see people online calling this series completely flawless and godlike. That nostalgia, that passion, it's a huge part of this game's whole story. The game itself is a really short and sweet ride. It's split into two main worlds, Candidorian and Bloxonius. You get 2 levels in each, plus a neat little secret bonus stage if you can find it. And the whole thing got this amazing holiday makeover. The usual levels? Nope. They were swapped out for these wintry candy worlds in places that look like they're built from Legos. Even the bad guys were changed to, and I'm quoting here, red rodents hopped up on candy. It was just pure 90s platforming chaos all wrapped up for Christmas. But here's the thing. If you ask a fan what the absolute most memorable part of Holiday Hair is, they might not even say the gameplay. A lot of them are going to say it's the music. Yeah, for a lot of people, the music is the real star of the show. It's not just some background noise. This soundtrack is packed with tunes that are catchy, cool, and just so perfectly 90s. They were absolutely designed to get stuck in your head. And the one track that everybody remembers? The main theme. It's this incredible, synth-heavy, almost chilling version of Carol of the Bells. It just perfectly captures that mix of holiday cheer and, high-speed rabbit action. I mean, the music was so good that people remember finding this game on AOL and just playing it on repeat, sometimes just to let the soundtrack play in the background. Now, that's the power of a great video game score.
So, when all is said and done, what's the verdict? Holiday Hair 95 is remembered as a true freeware classic, a really beloved gem, but yeah, one with a few rough edges. And to really get why it's so beloved, you have to go back to the 90s console wars. If you were a PC gamer and didn't have a Sega Genesis, Jazz Jackrabbit was your Sonic. It was your fast-paced hero. So getting a special holiday version, that meant you finally had a cool, exclusive game you could brag about to your friends with consoles. So looking back, let's break it down. The pros? It was super polished, a ton of fun, had that killer soundtrack, and it was free. This was freeware. You could just download it and share it. But on the flip side, it's really short, the difficulty can suddenly get brutal, and it didn't actually add any new weapons to the game. And when I say short, I mean short. You could probably beat the whole thing in about 30 minutes. But hey, for a free holiday game in 1995, that was a fantastic deal. So in the end, yeah, it had its flaws, but the verdict from the fans who grew up with it still stands. For them, it is just about the best Christmas game ever. Just a perfect, wholesome, silly slice of 90s gaming history. And that kind of leaves us with one last question. Jazz Jackrabbit was a special classic for a whole generation of PC gamers. So, what's yours? What's that forgotten holiday game that you still think about?